You are an artist and an architect, and one thing you do is make custom art for people, including us. How many have you made?
Thousands.
Thousands!
Thousands, because I just finished one for one of the ladies. I was helping at the counter, and her daughter, I said, what's your problem? And then she said, oh, it's her birthday next week. And she doesn't know what she wants. And I go, what's your name? And she said, Aurora. And I said, oh, do you like cartoons? Yes. And why are you asking? I said, I just want to know. And I said, give me the cartoon characters that you like. So she gave it to me, and I told the mom, when's her birthday? He said, oh, this Thursday. Okay, Friday, swing by here, and if I'm not here, I'll leave it I'll leave it at the customer service. I'm gonna have something for her. But she looked at me and goes, why? And I said, so she will be happy. So I did a poster for her with her name, and about 3 days, the week after her birthday, her mom came up with what do you call it, bun cake.
Mm-hmm.
This is from our family to you. My daughter was showing that up. She brought it to school. She brought it, and all of a sudden, her friends shows up at the counter at the millwork at Home Depot looking for Hercules, because that's my real name. Can you do this for us too? Because it's really, really cool. So how do you say no? When God brings these kids that I didn't know, I don't know.
How did you get into it?
When I was young, I liked to draw, because my mom was very artistic. She's always doing stuff in the walls, to make things. And she because my mom has done so much for me, she said, you like to draw? Read on this guy, Norman Rockwell, illustrator. And I go, I do that. And so I started telling people I was Norman Rockwell Jr. And they go, what? My mom would go, oh, he thinks it's Norman Rockwell. And they would look, you did this? And then the more people ask, the more intrigued I got. Like, why are they surprised that I can do something like this? Because then my mom's ringing voice, because God gave you the ability. And if God gave you the ability, what do? 1 Corinthians 10:31, do it to glorify Him. So in everything that I do now, I try to do it so to make people happy. At the same time, I think I'm glorifying God.
How did you get better at drawing?
In our high school, we have drafting, we have arts, and my teachers noticed, good teachers notice students that have special talents. And I was lucky enough, I was in a private boys' school growing up, St. Benedict's Boys, San Beda, St. Benedict's, and then Don Bosco with the Salesian brothers. The teachers notice that I can do things, and then they say, hey, can you do this for the school? Oh, can you do? So they help you. And then when I went to architecture, part of the subject was fine arts. And that's when again, my fine arts teacher said, hey, were you the one that did this? And he goes, yeah, well, I have a little show that I need to do to promote our school and get more people to come into our school and fine arts. And I want to showcase students' talents. And I said, you want me to be part of your? And then of course, again, why do you think he noticed that? Because God gave you that gift. And if you're going to do something for your teachers, make sure you do it the best you can so you can glorify Him. And that's the way my mind works.
Was there any famous people that you modeled your art after?
Michelangelo, because I was very intrigued with the story, that the fact that he laid on his back while he was drawing. So one time, my mom was going, "What are you doing?" Because I had my board, and I put it and I clamped it underneath the dining table. Then I went underneath in a little chair, and I lay down and I started drawing. I wanted to experience what he experienced. My mom was, "What are you doing?" I'm trying to see what Michelangelo and all those great painters felt when they were drawing this in the cathedral, and they go, and the ceiling, that when you see it, how did they do that? Now I know, because I experienced it. And my dad goes, "What is he doing underneath the table?" He thinks he's in the 16th channel. He's drawing like Michelangelo. And my dad goes, "No, you're nuts, right? But you're a good nut." So when I see something, I want to experience it.
Why did you become an architect?
Because my dad owns one of the biggest construction company in the Philippines, and he said, "It'd be nice if one of you become an architect." And I said, "Okay, fine. I like to draw." And then they said, "Maybe it should be you." So that's what I did. I decided I'm going to be an architect and help out. So I got my degree in architecture and master's in architecture, and I started drawing houses and buildings and stuff like that. And then that's where people saw some of the things that I've done. And I said, "Where'd you get that idea?" I said, "I like doing things different. Because just because somebody built something, don't copy it. Then it's not original. And I don't like copying things. So I would do things a little bit different." And that's when people start noticing, "I like that house. Who did that?" And they would say, "Can you make my house just like that?" And I said, "We can't do that because that's for that family. Tell me what your lifestyle. What do you like? What do you do? Blah, blah." And then as they're talking, I will start sketching. Then when they're done talking, I go, "Is this something that you're looking at?" Then they would go, "That's what I'm thinking about." So that's how I create things, by talking to people. The likes and the two-story, one-story, multi-level. Then while they're talking, my brain started processing some of the stuff, and then I started drawing. And my mom took me aside one time when I was in high school. Said, "You know why you can draw well, right? Because that is not something you learned. That's something that God gave you." Then I said, that's when I started thinking that everything. Then she said, "Read this, 1 Corinthians 10:31. And everything that you do, anything that you say, glorify God." 1 Corinthians 10:31 became my war cry. Anything that I do, anything that I say, I don't care if it's sports, anything. Gotta do it to glorify God. Do it in the glory of God. So that's my war cry, 10:31. That's why when I saw that movie of this players doing things, these runners, they were not the best runners, but they had a coach that told them, they put in their shirts 10:31. Everybody said, "What's 10:31? We're running because God made us fast." So if God give you the ability to build something, God give you the ability of being fast, run. God give you the ability to teach, communicate. God gives you the ability to draw. You know. So that's how I live my life. If I can do things because God gave it to me, not because I learned it from college. You can only learn how to be patient. You can learn how to be persevere. Somebody told me a long, long time ago, one of my favorite quotes, because we always hear practice, repetition makes, he said, repetition makes permanent. And I go, what do you mean? If you repeat something over and over and over, it becomes part of you. And that's the way you live your life, part of God. And I said, oh, okay. And because I heard somebody in one of the coaching courses, oh yeah, repetition makes perfect. And I corrected him and I said, there's only one perfect person. Nobody's perfect. But I said, stand up. So he stood up. Sit down, sit down. You stand up, sit down, jump. What? When I told you to jump, how come you were able to jump? Because you've done it several times. But was it a perfect jump? No. Nothing's perfect, but repetition makes permanent. So that's what I tell my kids. Practice every day. Because you do something over and over and over and over, it becomes part of you. You become a better player because you've done it, and your body reacts to it, without thinking. It's part of you. So repetition makes permanent, and that's another motto that I try to tell kids. Do something over and over and over and be good at it. But you'll never be perfect at it because there's only one perfect person. Even Pele, the best soccer player in the world in his prime, and Messi misses penalty kicks because nobody is perfect. But what they do is part of them because they've done it repetitive times. So that's how I coach. A lot of repetitions.
What would you tell an architect starting out?
Listen to people, because a lot of people don't listen. The act of again, this is one thing that I learned from my grandpa. He said the reason why he was successful because he listens instead of telling people what they want.
What mentors, books, or internet helped you that might help an inspiring architect?
So people read on what made Le Corbusier, Frank Lloyd Wright, all those architects that are famous. What made them famous? What goals did they have? How did they create things for clients? Just read and learn, because a lot of people think, oh, I know what I want. Yeah, but sometimes we don't know what we want until we learn from others. Learning from others, especially people that are successful. Why is Michelangelo successful? I'll read about it. Why is this one person successful in life? Read what he did. Then you learn, and then you prioritize. Okay, I like this part. You don't have to mimic what he did. Make it yours. Make it part of you. Okay, I'm gonna take this away from this one guy. I'm gonna take that away from that one guy. This is me now. So this is my identity because of what I learned from all these great people. Because that's why they write books. We could learn uh, from everybody.
What is your favorite project you worked on as an architect?
Aside from designing my parents' home, the best, biggest project that I thought was amazing was when I was working for Gallo. They said we're gonna build one of the biggest underground cellar in the world. It's gonna house 13 uh, uh, story stacks of wine barrels, and it's gonna be underground. We have to dig, and I'm envisioning all of this work that needs to be done. So when we first started creating this big giant hole in the ground in this hill, everybody goes, "Hey, I got building swimming pool," and I said, "No, it's going to be an underground cellar, and it's I don't know if it's the biggest in the world, but it could be close to one of the biggest underground cellar in the world, and it's in Hillsburg, uh, uh, north of Santa Rosa, and it's owned by the Gallo family." And the fact that I was part of the original design, where it's going to go, work with the structural engineer, mechanical engineer, and all of that to make sure that everything works. And you could drive uh, a tour bus. That's how big it is into this underground cellar, and show people what the Gallos have created, because they're visionaries. The Gallos. That's the reason why their company, the Gallo family, is the biggest wine producing family owned company in the world. And I was lucky enough to be part of that group and work with Ernest and Julio, and directly with their son Robert Gallo, who was responsible for my dream of doing certain things that I couldn't have dreamed if I didn't work for them. So but the first thing that I thought was my Taj Mahal thing was when my dad said, "We're moving, you need to design us a house at Green Hills." And I go, "What? Dad, I just finished architectural school, you want me to design our house?" And they said, "You're an architect, design a house for the family." And I did. We got a fountain, I thought I did a great job. And it was sad when my dad said, we're moving to America and we're going to sell that house. And I said, I hope that house, the person that buys this house loves it the way we did. So I still go to the internet and go to corner of Polk and Buchanan. They go, "Wait a minute, you live in the Philippines. Your address is at the corner of Polk and Buchanan, Green Hill subdivision in the Philippines?" And I go, "Yeah, it's the subdivision. All the street names are names of presidents of the United States." "Oh," they go, "and it's in the Philippines." People can figure that out. I said, "Yeah, you'd be surprised how much culture the Philippines have connected with Spain and the United States."
How do you combine your creative skills with your spiritual gifts?
People notices in everything that I do, there's always a cross. There's always a reference to God. Glorify God daily. I always involve that in everything that I do. And they go, "What's this 3 cross on this drawing?" Then all of a sudden, I have it. I was able. Now I got their attention. That's my way of getting their attention. Okay, you want me to explain what those 3 crosses mean? This is what happened when God was understood. All of a sudden, they go, "Where can I find that story?" And they go, that's all in the Bible? I go, so what I would do things to make people ask questions. What is this? Oh, opportunity to talk about God. So those are the things that I do. I and I learned that from my dad. He would do things even at work. He will do something to he goes. Uh, he would paint a color purple one time. And I go, why is that purple? You know, the purple is the color of the king. Oh, and you know who's number one king? And that gives him the opening to talk about God. So I learned from my dad that if you do something or say something that opens the forum of talking about God, boom, you just made it. That there's your door. You just open a door to talk about. One time I said, you know where the word history came from, right? It's a story. He goes, what? It's a story. We're talking about and they go, oh, so every time that guy thinks of history now, he's going, I'm talking about his story. You know, and even though he's doing something, history of Bangladesh, there's a connection. That's why it's called history. And again, who connected me to that? My mom called me one day and said, you know where this word came from? So that's why my heroes are my mom and dad growing up. My goodness, I've learned so much from them now to become a good, not only a student, learning the Word of God, but how to help others by the little hints that we put in. You know, so like I said, in all of my drawings, there's a J, and you know, what is that? That's a cross. Oh, that's a cross. We thought that's just Jesus. Yeah, but if you look at the way I wrote it, it's a cross. And then it goes, why? And that opens in, oh, he died for us, right? Open what you do to be able to share the gospel and all of that. So that's why everybody in the family thought I was going to be the next priest until I saw girls in the classroom.
Moving to the D in the Rad Life of Jesus, which is dream destiny, how did you overcome the limiting beliefs that art or sports can't pay enough?
Well, just by showing what you can do and being creative. And one of the things that we learned is showing, getting people to tell. See, I can't tell you what kind of house you want. You tell me, and while you're talking to me, I will sketch what you're saying to see, is this what you're looking for? And so the feedback from people, and I think that's what made me a good architect, because I listen to what people want instead of telling them, oh, you need a 2-story with this, because they might not. Then you build that house and goes, I didn't need this, you know, that architect made. But if when I built the house and said, remember you said you want, yeah, look at what we did. This is what I want. You know, building something that people want is different from me telling you what you want and showing you, oh, look how good I am. I made you a good house, but it might be the house that you don't want. So one guy said, what is this thing called? I think he called it a lanai. And he goes, I thought it's called a patio. But he said, we call it a lanai. It's better than saying it's a patio. And it's free form too. I don't do squares and rectangles. Sometimes I do, you know, it will probably cost just a tad more, but it adds beauty to the home, and it's unique. If you make a house unique to what the people want, they will love that house because it's their dream, it's what they want, and their architect built it for them and helped them realize their dream. And that's one of the way I approach a client is, what house do you want? How do you want your house to look like? Blah, blah. Then I show them different houses that I've done. And they look at features. Oh, I like that feature. Let's incorporate that in my house. Oh, I like that entrance. And then I put all of those together for them because it's different from what the other client wants.